sketchy at all. Totally not sketchy.
It's the name of
Kelly was talking about, like, I like how you leave all the mistakes. I'm like, yeah, I just don't want to edit them.
that's how it happens, though. Real life.
Yeah, it's all real. It is all real. All right, let's go live. If anybody joins on Instagram, if anybody, I'm not going to be able to comment back. Oh, look. Justin. Thank you for joining, Justin. Okay. We did that. We did everything. Hi, Sondra.
Hello.
How are you? All right. Welcome to the Outspoken Artist Peculiar 2024. I am here with Sondra LaRay from Sondra. Is Sondra LaRay or what's your last name?
Sondra Miltenberger.
That's what it was.
Yep.
Of Sondra LaRay's photography. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I am doing great. I met wonderful people. Thank you for postponing a little bit
You're totally
with me. But I wanted to talk and get to know a little bit about you. Get to
Okay.
know not only your wedding work, but also your sports stuff that you've been sharing, that some of it has gone viral. So could you tell everybody a little bit about your work?
Yeah. So I'm a wedding photographer, and I've been also dabbling into sports photography as well. And so when I started out with photography, I kind of shot everything, and then I did my first wedding, and I was like, oh yeah, this is my jam. I strive in chaos, and I feel like wedding days are very chaotic.
That makes sense.
And you never know what's going to happen. So with my wedding work, I like to make it dramatic, or I like to be able to walk into a space and completely change how that looks. There's been multiple times where I've worked at certain venues, and I do same day edits as well. And people at the venue would be like, I've worked here for 20 years and I've never seen a picture like that. And they're like blown away. And so to me, like creating those dramatic fine art images that make you stand out. And then on top of that, like I always say, I love doing those pose photos, but ultimately, like, it's capturing their day, it's documenting it, it's capturing the real raw emotions. And so that's what I'm really passionate about, is altering light and playing with it, making something creative, but also documenting their day and getting all those real genuine emotions. And then on the sports side of things, I started out with, I live in a really small town. And so I did a senior session there, and it just kind of blew up. And so then after that, I had quite a few sports teams reach out to me. And the one that you're talking about that went viral was the kid was sliding on the base, and he just scorpioned, and I caught it like perfectly on accident. It was a happy accident, but so that one did go viral. And so since then, I've had a lot of teams reach out, and that's kind of been like a fun side thing that I've been doing.
That's crazy. So how was that going viral? How did that all play out? What did that do to your business in general? Because ESPN shared it too, right?
Yep. So ESPN shared it. Barstool Sports reached out. A whole bunch of people reached out to share it. I don't know. It's just I posted it. I was not expecting that at all. And honestly, I even contemplated posting it because I was doing main wedding photography. So I was like, do I post my sports stuff together? And I was like, I'm just gonna post it. It's at like almost 25 million views now.
Now, did you figure out it was trending, or was it somebody else that told you?
I was watching the numbers, and then I also invited Mag, Mod, and Geekoto to collaborate with it. And so Trevor and Iram were reaching out to me, and they're like, oh my gosh, are you seeing this? And then, so it was at like 5 million views, and Trevor's like, I think we can hit 10 million. And I'm like, stop, we're not like, don't say that because it's a pressure. And then it's still going. My phone is just constantly with notifications. So I have no idea how it happened, but it's funny. And the kid was okay. He wasn't hurt. And his mom thought it was hilarious. She was like, send me the video.
That kid will forever have that video have trended.
And it's the coach's son too. So
even better. You mentioned in your wedding that you like to basically transform spaces.
Mhm.
How do you transform, let's say, a regular like conference room that's for a wedding?
So when I walk into a space or a venue, the first thing that I'm looking at is the existing light or the ambient lighting. So I'm looking at the light fixtures and looking at windows if there's light beams coming in or hard shadows, things like that. And so a lot of times I'm looking for like cool light fixtures, and then I will set my ambient light to what I want those to look like. And then I like to take flashes and gel them up, and then I'll point them up to the ceiling, or I'll put them up on pillars so that it changes the background colors and completely different. So it almost like darkens the rest to where you only see that light, and then I add light to make it look how I want it to look. Um, if I if I'm in a space where I don't have any cool light fixtures, or it's like just chaotic, and a lot of times getting ready spaces, is just stuff everywhere. I'll just make everything black. I'll turn my ambient light completely out, and then add existing light, like do a silhouette, or use smoke or fog, or just something to get a creative portrait out of it.
Nice. Making something more out of that room.
Yeah.
And you mentioned also same day edits. Is that something that's starting to pick up now, or is that something that's still very niche within the wedding space?
It's still very niche. There's not a lot of people that I know that I've heard doing it. And so I've been doing it for a couple of years now. And what I usually do is during dinner, I will go set my laptop up and I will pull up AfterShoot, and I'll let AfterShoot. I usually pick out specific images because I don't want it to call the full thing. I want very specific ones for
Yeah.
that. But then I have AfterShoot edit it, and I go eat, and then I come back and I can do that. And so I don't tell my bride and groom about it. It's not something I upsell. It's not something.
Also surprise.
Oh yeah, I completely surprise them.
Oh, wow.
And so sometimes I'll ask like the mom or the maid of honor, hey, is this something you think they're gonna like? Because I don't want it to be something if it's not. And I've never had anybody tell. They're like, yes, please, they're gonna love it. And so I surprise them with it. Also, sometimes like wedding days are so chaotic. So if I don't have that time to edit, I don't want to promise something that I can't
True.
deliver
Very
on.
good point.
But then also you're sharing your work in front of 150, 300 people, the wedding guests, and they're like, oh my gosh. And I've even had like the bartender that's working the wedding come up to me and be like, oh, I'm getting married next year. And then they'll reach out to me. And so there's just so many opportunities with it. And then the expression to bring like tears to your bride on her wedding night and see those, like, it's a really cool
And
feeling.
you're taking pictures of that too.
Yes.
You're creating emotions.
Some behind the scenes.
Yeah. What do we have here? Let me see. We have Justin Olds. I think I saw Justin say I'm real, by the way.
Justin said he's
Yeah,
real?
I'm real.
Oh.
I don't know. Let's see if anybody else is joined on this one. Okay, so this one's fine. Well, thank you for everybody on Instagram for joining. This is Sondra from Sondra LaRay Photography. And we're just talking about, wedding photography, some of the newer things that you offer in regards to like same day edits, transforming the space. I really think it's fascinating because of the fact that you're not only able to give them that gift, but you're also creating future business.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal. And there's Justin, who's real, walking.
Justine.
Oh, he's on our live stream on his phone.
You can bring my coffee.
See, there he is. There's Justin. Oh man, that's funny. How, if somebody wanted to break into the obviously very saturated space of wedding photography, what are some tips you can give them to either stand out, or what could they be doing themselves in order to try to make it?
So I feel like if you're new into the wedding world, I think it's super important to shadow or to second shoot or associate shoot with another photographer. So I would recommend finding a photographer who you love their art, you love their work, and ask to shadow them or learn. The one thing that I wish I would have done was take workshops and do education sooner.
Yeah.
So that's honestly where I would start. And then as far as like getting your name out there and marketing like when you're taking photos, like social media is a huge power. So like posting those, because a lot of times I feel like people take these photos and then they're not sharing them. So they're not going to be seen. You have to put yourself out there, and it's not always the easiest thing to do, especially with weddings. I feel like they can be scary. And
Of course, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, and then once you've done a couple weddings that you've second shot for, you've shadowed for, a lot of times I find that people start with like friends or family so that, they're more comfortable because it is such a big day. And then it just kind of grows and expands. And a lot of the times it's like word of mouth and referral, or they're like, oh, she shot my wedding. And it just grows from there.
Do you think that some people find it difficult to reach out and try to become a second photographer? Like out of fear of, I don't know, whatever that may be?
Yeah, I do. I've seen posts with it as well of people saying that, or that they want specific things, or like they want them to be very efficient in off-camera flash and things like that. And a lot of times if you're starting out, they're not going to be. Personally, so I have a team of 3 lead shooters and 3 second shooters, and I would much rather find somebody who's starting out, who I can help them grow and learn and train. And then they're also going to shoot in a style that you prefer as
Right.
well. But yeah, sometimes I feel like you just have to reach out to the right people. But there's so much community in the photography industry, and I think there's a lot of people who are willing to help. But it is scary to put yourself out there and ask.
No, absolutely. And I was looking online, and I think I accidentally closed it. You do have an educational platform. Can you tell me about that?
Yes. So I have it's called Shooting Your Shot Photography Education with Sondra LaRay's Photography. So, and actually how it started was my team. So I had a couple people reach out to me and they're asking me questions and how do I do this and how I do this. So I started to grow my team. I started to train people. Absolutely loved it. They're like so excited. They said, they've reached out to other photographers and they just kind of shoot them away or and so once teaching them, I realized, oh, and then just authentically, I had people reaching out to me. And so I was like, okay, like, let's do it. And so I created the platform and then I've been starting to like teach at conferences and things like that. But to be able to see people like learn something and then apply it and then like send you the picture and then the excitement behind it
Yeah.
is huge. So it's just a place to share your work. There's so many talented people in the group. There's people that are in there way more talented than me. And so it's just like we can all learn something from somebody. Just having an open mind with that, and that's what that education group is for.
No, that's great. That's great. You mentioned conferences, and we'll talk about that. Let's see. We're still about the same there, so that's good. Hello, everyone. We met at a conference.
Yes.
We met at Imaging, along with the rest of the crazy troop that I've come. I know most of the AfterShoot people. I've come to call friends now, which I'm so happy with. You mentioned conferences. Can you give me your perspective on someone who may not have attended a conference yet, thinking about doing it? Should they do it? What are some of the potential benefits they can get?
You absolutely should do it. I remember my first year attending at WPPI. I was so nervous and I just kind of took a back seat and was just taking it all in. But the amount of education that you can get, the amount of you just get so inspired, and you see people not only like these huge artists that you look up to, and then you meet them and you're like they're just real people and they're friendly and nice. And I remember a specific conversation. It was at Shutterfest, and it was with Rafael Serrano, and I love his work. It's beautiful. And so I'm sitting there and I'm talking to him and he's getting ready to speak and he's like, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, you're nervous? What do you mean? Like, you're a pro. So even they get nervous or even, but it's just there's so many resources, there's so many networking things, there's so many companies there that have amazing products that you might not even heard of. I learned of AfterShoot through WPPI. And so I just think there's so much benefits in it that it absolutely, if you were thinking about attending a workshop, do it, or a conference, 100%.
100%. Yeah. We wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for conferences.
All of my best friends, are pretty much family now, and I've met them through conferences. And then, if you continue to go and continue to grow your education, you guys are at the same conferences. And so it's just like, we get to meet up every so often. It's awesome.
I didn't know so many people within our little circle came here. Like I knew you were coming, Kelly was coming, Kiati was coming, but I had no idea Justin, Veronica, and everybody else would be here. So, and even Anthony. So it's a very happy surprise. So, hey Jose, hey Justin. I'm trying to see who else. Can't read the name up there. I have LASIK, but I'm not that good. Let me see. I was going to ask you something else. I think you're speaking at a future conference. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I'll be speaking at Shutterfest.
When's Shutterfest?
Shutterfest is in April.
April of 20.
I don't know the exact dates.
Is that St. Louis?
Yes.
Okay,
St. Louis, Missouri. Yep.
Good deal. Tell me a time. Well, let's talk about your sports photography.
Okay.
Now that I've saw that you're playing with all kinds of different things outside of the Scorpion, can you tell me a time that it's like a memorable moment that now you're never going to forget because of whatever happened during that session?
So there's a couple different times. So the one senior session I did, she had this idea or this concept of, she did multiple different sports. And so she wanted a picture of her in every outfit in one photo. And so I put my camera on a tripod and we had like this throne that we found and it was just perfect. And so she went and changed, run back. And so I lit her into multiple spots around that chair. And then she was also part of like homecoming court. So then in the center, she was in her dress. And so I was able to show her that image and just like her expression of being like, oh my gosh. And so I feel like watching them see the images or showing them behind the camera and getting their reactions is really awesome.
Especially at that age, because a lot of them are self-conscious of being in front of the camera. And if you show them what they look like, at first they might feel like, oh, I don't want to show it to anybody, but then they're showing it to all their friends and everybody else because they look good. I mean,
and I'm like, so the beginning of it, I always try to get like a really cool shot.
Yeah.
And then I try to show them it right away, because then it can be uncomfortable if they're teenagers or they're in front of a camera. And so try to make them feel as comfortable as possible. If I show them behind the camera and I know it's a really cool shot, they're like, oh, sweet. And then they're on board for whatever idea you have. They're go. Like, if you can create that, they have their full trust in you.
Nice. So in addition to showing them the image right away, what's another good tip to work with like seniors or, younger kids in the sports section or in school?
I'm just constantly talking to them, honestly, and like just talking to them, joking around with them. I think just keeping it personable with them, because if they're they're younger kids, and especially if I do even younger kids too, and so I think just being personal with them and talking with them and making them feel comfortable in front of your camera, or joking around with them. I joke around with them all the time. I think that helps a lot.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned AfterShoot. Is that what brought you to Peculiar? And can you tell me about AfterShoot?
So actually Kiati was the one who brought me.
Kiati brought all of us here.
Kiati and Katrina, she is based out of Michigan as well. And then I think Kiati had talked with AfterShoot about coming as well. And so I was like, perfect. I was just like so excited that they were going to be here.
Nice.
Because I work with AfterShoot as an ambassador, and it's AI culling, AI editing. And so they're here, and we have the editing lab. And so we're putting it on people's computers, and we're showing them in person how it works, and to watch them be like just mind blown of like, oh my gosh, I need this in my life.
So if you were doing, let's say, a wedding, right? The time it takes you to edit the old fashioned way versus AfterShoot. This podcast is not sponsored by AfterShoot.
We just love them a lot.
Yeah. How much time is it saving you?
So much time. I look back and I'm like, I don't even know how I did it before, honestly. Like I would say before I had AfterShoot, it would take me hours and hours and hours to edit and cull and get the gallery completely set. And I would say now I can easily do a wedding in 5-6 hours.
Wow, that is.
And I do a lot of off-camera flash. So that's even a lot of like taking out my soft boxes, and I do the group composites. So it's all of it. I can have it done. And
that's impressive. That's really impressive. Let me get your perspective on this. Because I just thought about this because of Facebook. I've seen an uptick of certain photographers posting, shoot my wedding. I just want the raws, or like just a raw video, raw the photos. Obviously, these are photographers that are being hired, but then they're outsourcing the work. What would you say to, let's say, a bride and a groom that are looking to book a photographer? What are some cautionary tales that you can give them? Because that to me seems like they're willing to get anybody to photograph a wedding, pay them a certain amount, and then take the money. And then hopefully the pictures come out great. What would you say is a cautionary tip for brides and grooms?
So you're saying that the bride is asking for the raws?
No. This is a photographer hiring a second photographer to shoot their wedding. And
Okay.
all that they want is the raw images.
Okay, so okay, sorry. I'm just making sure I understand the question. So you're a photographer. You're hiring another photographer to shoot the wedding for you, and they're giving you the raws.
Yep.
Okay. So I have some associate shooters. But I think that there has to be a difference. So with my team that I have, I've trained them so they shoot how I would shoot.
Right.
I have their galleries on my website, so you can go and you can see their work, the weddings that they've shot for me. And then I'm always I communicate that with the bride. This is your shooter and this is their gallery. And so you have to be 100% clear, because if you're booking someone for their special day and you're just hiring like someone you don't even know their work, that's scary, because you want to make sure that they're in good hands, because they're trusting you to capture their wedding day. And so I think that it can be done, but I think it has to be done correctly and make sure that they're in good hands for sure.
Yeah, I like your approach, because here's who's going to be your shooter, here's her style, and if they say I don't really like their style, then okay, then we can have this one.
Yep.
Yeah, in this case, they're literally having somebody photograph, and then they're giving the images back to the bride and the groom. They say, shoot this day at this time, give me the raws.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of that lately.
That would scare me.
So don't hire people like that. Don't hire people like that. Did I ask you, where can people find your work?
So I'm on like everything's pretty much Sondra LaRay's photography. I'm on Instagram. I've been trying to do a lot of behind the scenes reels because I think that helps with people learning or seeing like for me it just like clicks when I can see it. I'm like, oh, that's how they did it. I want to try that.
Right.
And so I'm trying to be do a lot on there. So Sondra LaRay's photography on Instagram for my behind the scenes. On Facebook, it's Sondra LaRay's photography. I do a lot of my wedding work on there. I do have another, it's called Great Lakes Sports Portraits, and I'm kind of trying to brand my sports photography separately a little bit. So that's like getting up off the ground and running.
Nice.
And then just the education platform of shooting your shot with Sunrise Photography.
I like it. I like it. So outside of weddings and sports, are you seeing anything else on the horizon that you might tap into, or just going to get really, tell me. This is great.
So 2 things. I have been thinking about opening a studio and doing more like I wouldn't call it like creative portraiture. I wouldn't say fine art or anything, but just creative portraiture of like if I have a vision, being able to create that. So I think being able to do that during the day, like because a lot of the weddings are on the weekends. So playing around with that. And then also I am in the works of coming out with an online education workshop so that you can just purchase it and you can do it on your own time.
Nice.
Online. Yep.
That's fantastic.
Those are possibilities coming up soon.
All right. Well, we'll have to keep a lookout for the coming months and next year.
Yes.
So I'm thinking of opening up a studio too.
Are you?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Up in the Tampa Bay area. So we'll see how that goes.
What do you want to shoot?
I want to create a space not only for photographers, but also for podcasters and content creation.
Okay.
So that's going to be...
So you're like renting it out then? Okay.
I'm going to use it and rent it out.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do.
That's what I was like in the process of, okay, do we rent it out to other photographers in the space? Do I like co-own it? Do I want just my space and I do what I want with it? And so still kind of so many options with it, I feel like.
We'll get there. First, I have to find a space that allows me to do it because everything's a doctor's office or dentist's office.
Right.
It just needs to be a box with air conditioning.
Yeah.
That's
maybe
all.
Some window light.
Yeah, that's all that we need. Well, I think that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
What's your favorite conference you've been to so far? Or what is a conference that you've really taken something that's really changed your photography? So maybe not your favorite because they're all great. So I need to make you choose one. But like, what's one that's really changed it for you?
I feel that my first imaging was the most impactful one because it was my first one.
Yep.
And I attended a bunch of pre-con classes. And that's kind of what set the ball going where I started meeting people. And it changed my perspective that ended up launching my volume headshot business.
Okay.
Because before I was thinking, okay, I can do 1 headshot. Now I can do 200 headshots in a day, kind of like nothing.
Yeah.
And turn it around either the same day or the day after, kind of to your point. So I think that first one was the most impactful, not only from the educational side, but also from getting myself out of a comfort zone and talk to people and meet people. That's when I met Anthony. I met Kiati as well, and Justin and them. All because of that one conference. And because of that conference, the podcast was created because I just wanted to showcase people. So
I was going to ask how did this become?
It's because of everybody that I met, from Rick, Kayla, everybody else. I'm like, you know what? I just want to showcase people.
That's awesome.
Not make it about me.
So what year was it? Was it your first?
Not this year, 2023.
2023.
So last one was great. Last one was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the next year in Texas, where I'll be able to interact a little bit more with Iram and Gikoto. I think I'm doing their podcast too.
Okay.
So that should be a lot of fun.
So you asked about the future upcoming workshops at Gikoto headquarters as well. So that'll be nice.
Nice. I can't wait. Well, thank you, Sondra, for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, everybody who's online, if they're still there, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream here and eventually walk my way over there to stop that one. So thank you, Sondra.
Thank you.
And give you a sticker before I forget.
Yes. I love stickers.
No, you get the big sticker.
I get the big sticker.